Well, it's my privilege and honor to introduce the extremely renowned Mr. Kabir Bedi. As you know, is a famous Indian and international film and television actor and anchor. His father, Baba Pyarelal Bedi, was an author, a philosopher, and his mother, and which this is something that you may not know, Freda Bedi, a British lady, became famous as the first Western woman to take ordination in Tibetan Buddhism. Mr. Bedi did his graduation from St. Stephen's, Delhi, where he and Dr. Quraishi probably studied together. Mr. Bedi began his career in Indian theatre and then moved on to Hindi films. However, as he says, he should be grateful to Bollywood as the neglect there pushed him to a stunning international career. He went on to work in Hollywood classics such as Octopussy and the James Bond movie with Roger Moore, and Ashanti with Michael Caine, and then the super hit Hollywood daily soap The Bold and Beautiful, which had a viewership of more than 1 billion people across 149 countries. After a stint in Hollywood, he proceeded to become a big star in Europe, where his greatest success was Sandokan, the saga of a romantic Asian pirate in a colonial setting. This Italian, German, French TV series broke viewership records across Europe. Since 1982, he is a voting member of the prestigious Academy of Motion Pictures and Arts and Sciences, responsible for the Oscar Awards. He's also a voting member of the Screen Actors Guild. He was honored with the prestigious Pegaso d'Oro in 2007, which is a Golden Pegasus Award for lifetime achievement in Italy, and received the highest ranking civilian honor of the Italian Republic, titled Cavalier or Knight of the Order of Merit of the Italian Republic.
Firstly, I'm deeply honored to be in the company of such illustrious panelists. Very honored. At the very start, I just want to congratulate Dr. Quraishi for writing such an amazing, knowledgeable book with impeccable prose, a book that only he could have written with his extraordinary knowledge and insight into the electoral process of India. Huge congratulations for a magnificent book, sir. Let me say, he explained to you, stood here, regaled you with stories. And that's the style in which he's written a book. Because when he told me he'd written a book on the Election Commission, I've written articles on the Election Commission, etc. I thought, how can he write such a big book and make it interesting to people? Well, he did. Not only is it well written, it's a page turner. You want to know what happens next, you want to know what comes on the next page. It's a remarkable feat of writing, apart from the experience and understanding he brings to the subject. You know, he described to you what lengths the Election Commission goes to reach even the furthest voter in the farthest reaches of India. I'm reminded of something that Bob Hope, the American comedian, said at the height of the Cold War between America and Russia in the 80s. Bob Hope said, "Who says there's no television in every Russian home? There's a television in every Russian home. The only difference is you don't watch it, it watches you." Now the Election Commission goes one step further. They come to you. They make sure that 815 million voters in India are no more than a short walk away from a polling station. And the logistics of that are so mind-boggling that the only way you can understand it is if you read the book and if you paid attention to what Dr. Quraishi said at the beginning. The miracle of Indian democracy can only be understood if you step back a moment and look at the wider world. Today, 73 countries have no elections. That's 42% of the world's population have no elections. And in almost 106 countries, many of them even democratic, severely curtail the political, social rights of their citizens. If you see the fact that India got its independence in 1947, And many of our neighbors got independence at the same time. And yet, if you see the experience of our neighbors, whether it's Burma or Nepal or Pakistan, you see what a miracle it's been in this country. In fact, in 2013, for the first time in its history, Pakistan actually changed from one elected government to the other. Never before had it happened in the history of Pakistan that one elected government handed over power to another. So, what we take for granted, because it's there, the election commission is functioning, people vote, governments get elected, governments get thrown out, it's something to be marveled at. It's something to be appreciated, something to be saluted. And there's no question that the election commission has been responsible for making sure that these elections are not corrupted. These elections are held as fairly as possible. Earlier we used to hear all kinds of electoral malpractices. This time, barring a few minor incidents, in the world's biggest election, we've hardly heard any. So the Election Commission plays this incredible role. And what's also to be admired about this institution is that it has evolved with time. It has kept pace. Normally when a set of rules is made and the outer reality changes, suddenly those rules are antiquated and people just hang on to them. If you think about it, in 1952 when the first election was held, 16% of our electorate were literate in the most basic sense of the word. By 2013, 70% were literate. The nature of the media has changed dramatically, the way people communicate. Till the early 90s, and this is all facts in his book as well, in the early 90s, Doordarshan was the only game in town. I think in 1995, Z was the first one to enter the news and current affairs space. Today, there are over 300 news and current affairs channels in this country, the largest amount in the world. And they're in a dozen languages. This is because the free and fair exercise of democracy is permitted, because it happens in a way that we are proud of. And when you think about the nature of the changing media, again, you have to see that in 1995, 20 million people had cable in their homes. Today, it's well over 100 million. Social media has taken over. And yet, the Election Commission has stood the test of time and adapted with changing times and will continue to adapt. And therefore, I'd like to salute the Election Commission as well as Dr. Quraishi, who I regard as our finest election commissioner of all time. Thank you very much.